and welcome to another edition of the program Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio. My name is Mute Olorin. In the last 10 years, there has been notable progress in the appointment of women as chief executive officers, chief financial officers, and as occupants of other top management positions. According to research, women in key executive positions drive more value appreciation, better profitability mounts, and deliver excess risk-adjusted returns for their firms. Women possess natural soft skills like effective communication, empathy, and emotional intelligence, which has proven to be invaluable in building key competitive advantages. But fewer large companies are run by women, and women are still underrepresented at the executive level. On this edition today, we will be answering those questions: why, what, and how. My guest on the show today is Folake Agumbiade. She is a management consultant, a human capacity development expert, and a customer service coach, amongst many other things. It's my pleasure to have you on my show today. You're welcome to Total Woman.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's begin with your customer service series. What inspired you to begin that series online?
Wow. Thank you once again for having me. Well, customer service has been something that I've been doing for the past, give and take, 13 years now. It evolved out of a passion for seeing the service industry in Nigeria transformed and beyond. Someone that when I see bad service, it makes my skin crawl. So I thought about it. I had gotten to a point where I wanted to create a niche for myself in my industry as a management consultant. And I looked at what I was most passionate about, and I discovered that it was customer experience. Not just customer service, but the holistic experience of the customer and how it is being represented in this part of the world. So I decided to get an education in that area, which I did, and started to practice training and developing various people, organizations, individuals in how to create exceptional customer experiences. So that's how the journey started.
So you mean you're not pleased with what the government have put in place? We have what we call Servicecom, right? Is Servicom not performing its role?
Of course not. We all know that everywhere you go, you experience bad service. I was at my dentist yesterday, and I left there really mad. Unfortunately for them, I was wearing my customer seductress t-shirt. So I said, sorry, you can give everybody bad service, but you can't give me bad service. If you go to the parastatals, people talk to you anyhow, people act anyhow, regardless of Servicom. So somebody has to do the job of redefining service. So that pushed me in that direction to begin to put out my series, do my own bit, educate people everywhere and anywhere I get the opportunity.
So with the trainings you organize, are female participants as excited and as the male participant? Do they come out, like, we want to do this much more than the male?
Of course. By design, I'm a trained psychologist, an industrial psychologist, and by design, women are created to be nurturers and carers. But sadly, by statistics as well, women are how will I put it now? The particular gender that gives the worst service ever. Strangely so. Because a lot of times we react when we need to respond. And when you're creating customer experience, you should be responding and not reacting. So yes, women do turn up for the training because they know that they have that gap. We do. When we want to be nice, we can be very nice. But when we don't want to be, It
Okay,
can also
let's
slip.
look at the areas when you talk about customer service, customer experience, holistic. What do you call a proper customer or holistic customer experience?
Okay, I'm known as the customer seductress because what I practice.
That's the title of your book.
Yes, I have a book, Customer Seduction, and I am known as AKA
Customer seduction.
the seductress.
So let's talk about the total
The total package.
package of customer experience.
Now, the thing about the two, what I do is a combination of customer service and customer experience. That's why you have that derivative, which is customer seduction. Customer service is reactive. You usually give customer service when there is a problem. The traditional thinking of anybody who experiences customer service is that you have a department or you have a desk where people go to complain, and customer service attends to them. So the perspective of customer service is reactive. The perspective of customer experience is proactive. Being able to preempt the needs of the customer. Being able to identify what the customer really wants. And being able to identify as well what the customer doesn't even know they need. Now, a combination of the two is customer seduction, where the target of customer experience is looking to create emotional connections with the customer that keeps them coming back. So you just don't react to the customer with customer service or preempt the customer in able to meet their needs, but you target seduction, which is the act of making sure there is an emotional connection with your brand that makes them keep coming back.
But so looking at it naturally, you think women should just fall into that place, especially when they have what we call emotional intelligence.
They are nurturers.
So they should, but
They should. They should.
that is not the case.
That's not the case.
What are these peculiarities that are inhibiting women from taking responsibility or getting higher in the structure of leadership when it comes to this?
Now, one of the greatest bane of an average woman, this is the psychologist in me talking now, is our emotions. As emotionally intelligent as a woman can be, a woman is not, at first reaction, logical. A man is basically logical, but a woman is basically created emotional. So, in leadership, it is more prominent to see a man in leadership because they expect that regardless of certain factors that could happen to them, they are still logical. But a woman is thrown off balance by her emotions, by certain things that could happen. Someone's child is ill, the loss of a loved one, and so many other things. So women are not getting areas of expression the way a man would because we're emotional. We tend not to be very logical when it comes to taking decisions, being proactive. Now, that's not a general statement. Of course, there are women who have trained themselves in the skill of emotional intelligence who are now balancing it and being able to be on top of their game, regardless of their emotions.
Balancing it, work life, family life. What
Yes.
do you think is the best way a woman can go about it? And then you talked about reacting and responding and all
Yes.
that. Isn't it the fault of the organization if they don't equip the woman with the skills that they need, to be preemptive other than just respond to customers? And then put it vis-a-vis our ability, to take care of the family and then the workplace.
Honestly, I choose to take it as excuses. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I've been doing what I've been doing for so many years. And I can tell you that regardless of your family life, regardless of work and other things that we get to juggle, the capacity for a woman to juggle stuff is there. We are created to multitask. Yes, we have the ability to still take care of a family and be an A game top of your industry, powerful woman. We do. We do. It's just building that capacity that a lot of times we don't commit to. Rather than do that, we make excuses. We blame it on the most common things that at the end of the day make us disadvantaged when it comes to the men folk. They say, oh, a woman will want to go on maternity leave. As if having a baby stops you from following your dreams. It doesn't. You can work from home. You can work remotely. You can plan your life. You can develop your capacity to be able to wear all those caps. Yes, with a lot of strain, but to some extent, you can do really well at it.
Wow. I'll take a short break. My guests have been talking about customer service and why we as women limit ourselves from getting into senior management positions and doing the needful because we allow our structure, our psychological framework to interfere with our career and rising to management position. Well, I'll take a short break. When I come back, we will be looking at the things that women should begin to focus in. How do we build that skill that will enable us to juggle and balance the home, the work, ambition, and career? I'll be right back. Don't go away.
I am more than words you see. There is so much more to me. Oh, I can be all I ever dream of. Oh yeah, I am a total woman. I am a total woman. Oh, I am a total woman.
You're welcome back. It's still Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio, and we're talking about customer service and women. A 2016 report challenging the notion that women don't ask for raises revealed that women are equally as likely as men to ask for wage increase, but they are also 25% less likely to get one, even though they put as much effort as the men. What's your reaction to that?
Like I always like to say, there are some things that we can never change. We can only do our best to be the change we want to see. A woman by design is disadvantaged in the workplace because whether you like it or not, in a woman's career, if she's married, she's going to take maternity leaves. She's going to take some time off work. She's going to have days when she would need to go for her children's school runs or activities in school, open day, and take time off. So sometimes a woman can be disadvantaged because she's trying to balance different roles together. But I would say that the women that we're becoming in this generation are putting in their own full share of the work in the marketplace. In fact, women are said to be more thorough at certain tasks in the workplace than men. It's sad that those pay increases don't come because we tie it to the number of days sometimes. The matrix, the KPIs that are used to measure whether your performance is, on top of your game, is the same for a man and a woman, regardless of our peculiarities. So sometimes they don't get those pay raise that they want because by the measurement of the KPIs, if you have taken a certain number of days off at work, it could reduce your ability to perform well on your appraiser and affect many other things. And sometimes it's just plain stereotypes. The guys will get preferred above the woman. And in some cases, stereotypes swing in the way of the guys too. Women are preferred above the guys. So it happens in different circumstances and in different ways.
So why do women really find it difficult to ask for this?
Well, as a woman, we have the mentality that especially in this part of the world, we're meant to be seen and not heard. So even to stand up for ourselves in the workplace, we don't want to be tagged that difficult woman. Where a man would be able to say, these are my deliverables, these are my achievements, look at my records, a woman wouldn't want to be too forward. She just expects you to see it and give her what is due to her.
Because I know there's circumstances where the men are not even as qualified as the women,
But
and
they
they
make
would
more noise.
ask and they will make noise,
They'll
and then they
make
will
more
get what they
noise.
want.
They'll make more noise.
Wow, so that brings me to my next question. There's this McKinsey report that indicates that women, even when they're qualified, they still tend to want to give up leadership position for entrepreneurship. They just feel that, oh, I'm more comfortable being an entrepreneur than fighting to get to that position. You know, and you know, there's this stereotype also that's in the military, in certain organizations, there's a position a woman does not get to. Surprisingly, for the first time in over 150 years, Rotary Club nominated a woman for the first time as a president. I was shocked when I heard that. So do you think that these issues, this peculiarity, these issues we identified are the ones limiting women from wanting to fight, to work so hard to get to leadership? You know, instead as against just, let me just become an entrepreneur. I mean, is it that the heat is too much for them?
Well, I think it's more convenient for a woman to be an entrepreneur by the way we think. Because entrepreneurship is birthing ideas, is growing ideas, growing a vision, while leadership is growing people. A woman doesn't want to be in front because of the certain stereotypes that she has grown up and been fed to all her lives.
You don't think it's the hostility from society?
It is the cultural background that we have been given. The hostilities were created by the culture that we live in. A woman is not expected to be aggressive. A woman is not expected to be, you know, want to take for herself what belongs to her. A woman is not expected to be in control. Even the stereotypes of religion that we have grown up with says a woman submits to a man. So you can understand why it will be easier for a woman to go birth an idea than lead people, because leadership is influence. It would just be more convenient for you to run away from leadership because you know it's going to come with those stereotypes. People are going to talk against you. They're going to call you a bossy woman. They're going to call you names. Whereas a man can do those same things, you know, make demands on the people she's influencing, give them deadlines, give them targets, and it's fine. But a woman, they say maybe you're on your period or you're menopausal. There's always an explanation for why you act the way you act.
Why you being assertive?
So it's just convenient for you to run into entrepreneurship, where you can bury yourself in an idea and grow it. It's just easier.
Okay, so let's see how we can help our women on this edition today. Service, the area we find ourselves, okay? What should we begin to do and do differently? Because you can't do the same thing and expect a different results.
Of course.
So what can we begin to do and do differently and do well and be sure that we rise in any position we find ourselves?
I think the first place I would like to start with is that a woman needs to find her self-identity and self-worth. Like I said, there are a lot of issues that make it hard for a woman to see herself in certain lights. And we need to mentally begin to reprogram ourselves to be everything we have been created to be. We need to see ourselves the way we want to be. Our lives as women are not defined by the men in our lives or our children. Like I always like to say, I love my kids. But honestly, I'm not the woman I am today just because I'm a mother. There's something else that completes me. There's something else I want. There's something else that makes me go to bed at night and feel pretty good with myself. And that is impacting the knowledge I do in my area of human capacity development. So your identity, you need to know your identity. You need to know what your strengths are. You need to know your weaknesses, and don't be ashamed about it. Some of the things people complain about you as strengths, they're just intimidated by strong women. And until you own it, I had to do that. I grew up as the talkative child that everybody used to say, shut up, talk less. But here I am, the talkative has now become talk active. I talk for a living. So you need to own it. Look at it, realize it's a strength, then begin to learn emotional intelligence. You need to balance those emotions. As a woman, we have it. You know, there are some days when I see myself going off and I check the calendar and it's that time of the month. We have it. You almost can't run away from your emotions as a woman. But that ability to be able to identify your emotions, harness it, and, you know, put it in check and make sure you can be in control of your emotions to be able to make logical decisions.
So at the points where we have to deal with customers, we have to deal with people, what should we begin to do?
Now a large part of it is still tied to our emotions. We have the capacity to give care. As a woman, you are a birther, so you have the capacity to give care. If only you would realize that that logical part of you, critical thinking, is essential when dealing with a customer. It's strictly about business. It's never personal.
And I think that is just the deal
Critical thinking.
that makes the guy look like, okay, they are fit for the boardroom,
Exactly.
and the women are not.
You need to think critically. Like I like to say, I've stopped thinking love was just a doing word. My focus is bankable love. When I'm loving you straight to the bank. That's what a man would always do. He's focused on the prize. So when you balance your emotions and you can think critically, what you have is bankable love. You're able to service your customer. You're able to look above the insults. You're able to respond and not react and create emotional connection. A woman has everything it takes to perfect the act of seduction. That's why you wear that color of that red dress you wear, those heels you wear, that perfume you wear, that look you have, that smile you have.
Okay, so you're giving me another dimension now that is just beyond our emotions, our intelligence, but physical look is also very important.
Very important. You need to look a certain way. There are certain meetings I want to go to, and I know it's a boys' club. There's a certain way I dress. I enter there with a power look to tell you, I'm not here to joke. You get me, you feel me, dudes? Can we talk about it? And everybody gives you the respect.
Looking beyond my beautiful face.
Exactly. Make sure there's content.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I wanted to say. Make sure there's content. You can't be beautiful as a woman. You're created by design to give pleasure. But beyond that, give knowledge. Intelligence is the new hot, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
You need to have something up there. You need to get the knowledge you need to stand out in your industry and be a total woman.
Oh my God, thank you for Lake Agubiadi. Like her name, the seductive one, you know, when it comes to customer service. And that's what she's just been giving us the hints how women should begin to carry themselves, begin to value themselves, and make sure that you aim for the executive level and not just leave yourself as an average or middle class staff, but you can aim and get to your point. So my guest, a management consultant, a human capacity development expert, and a customer service coach, has done justice to this issue. Thank you so much for being my guest. Thank you. And I'm sure my viewer, they've learned a lot.
I hope so.
And when next we need your services, of course, we'll come for some of those high heels, perfume look, and intelligence.
We all do this.
That we need. All right, so that's the show for today. Thank you for joining us. My name still remains Mute Olori, and the program Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio will be with you again next week. Bye-bye.
I am more than words